Ever feel like you're just so slammed with the day-to-day,
Yeah.
that all the good stuff, the little wins, they just kind of whoosh,
Uh-huh.
pass you by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're really going to deep dive into this book, Great Things Happen Every Day, and see if we can't, I don't know, maybe rig the game a little so we actually notice those moments.
I like that, rig the game, because that's kind of what author, what's his name, Phil Barth, that's what he's getting at. It's not just like, think positive and everything's gonna be sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
It's about really understanding how our brains work, how they're wired, and then, using that to our advantage.
Okay, now that's interesting. So it's not just some woo-woo, good vibes only kind of thing.
Not at all. In fact, Barth actually started this whole great things idea from a pretty relatable place, honestly. He had a health scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, a heart issue, which, as you can imagine, major wake-up call. And it really got him thinking about, not just reducing stress, but like really appreciating life, more fully.
Yeah, for sure. Like a real stock and smell the roses kind of moment.
Exact.
But how do you actually go from like a health scare to, noticing great things every single day?
Well, that's where the kind of cool science comes in. Barth talks about something called the reticular activating system, or it's often shortened to RAS.
RAS. Okay.
Sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. Your brain is constantly bombarded with information, right? Like tons of it every single second.
Yeah.
The RAS is basically a filter. It decides what you actually pay attention to. So, if you're stressed all the time, focused on work deadlines, whatever, your RAS is like, okay, more stress coming right up.
Right, right. Feeds the beast.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. It works both ways. So if you can train your brain to like actively look for positive things, those great things, your RAS will start filtering for those instead.
Wow.
It's like putting on, I don't know, a new pair of glasses. Suddenly you're seeing the world in a whole new light.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it, like how this whole thing works. But what kind of great things are we even talking about here? Does it like have to be something huge every day to, retrain your brain or whatever?
See, that's the really cool thing about it. It really doesn't. Bart's whole point is that it's the everyday stuff, the stuff we usually just take for granted. That can be a great thing too. In the book, he actually breaks it down into like all these different categories just to give you an idea.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that. And he actually gives examples from his own life, right?
Exactly.
Like I'm thinking about that whole Cole's Cash vortex thing.
Oh, yeah.
That one cracked me up.
That's a perfect example because it really highlights how, honestly, just the simplest things can bring so much joy. It's like he's saying, look, if getting a good deal on a sweater can make you feel like you just won the lottery,
Right.
then imagine how much more is out there.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's not about that thing, it's about how we choose to see it, right?
100%.
Speaking of seeing things differently, he talks about family vacations in the book.
Yeah.
And there's one story, I don't know why, but it really stuck with me.
The Charleston trips.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love those.
I love how he takes what could be, just a regular family vacation,
Right.
and he turns it into this opportunity for like a deeper connection.
Yes.
The most embarrassing event competition, pure genius.
I love that. Like, who plans for that?
Right.
Like a kid's going to have a pudding eating contest mishap.
Exactly.
But it's like by leaning into it,
Yes.
by finding the humor in all the chaos,
Yes.
it becomes a great thing. It becomes a story to laugh about for, years to come.
Exactly. And that ties right back into the whole RAS thing. Because by choosing to focus on the positive, even when, things are messy,
Right.
Barth is basically training his brain to seek out those moments of connection, of humor.
Yeah.
Even when, things aren't perfect, they're not going according to plan.
It's almost like he was creating a feedback loop of positivity.
Exactly.
The more great things he notices, the more his brain is like primed to find them.
100%.
But it's not all, fun and game. He gets into some like deeper stuff too. Like, he talks about saving starfish with his kids.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That one, I don't know.
It's such a good one.
It really got me.
Yeah, that story it's really beautiful. It shows how those great things, they can be about way more than just like our own personal joy. It's about, connecting to something bigger than ourselves. Yeah.
Making a difference, however small.
It's funny, at the beginning, we were talking about, how to rig the game. And I don't know, for some reason that starfish story really stuck with me.
Yeah,
It's like you don't just sit around waiting for good things to happen. You got to get out there and, make them happen, even if it's just for a couple starfish.
I love that. And you're so right that active participation, that's a huge takeaway for our listeners from this book, for sure. Barth isn't just saying, hey, just like passively observe the great things in your life.
Right.
He's giving us a framework to actually create more positivity in our lives.
Okay, so how do we do that? Give us the cheat codes. What are some things our listeners can start doing, like today, to, rewire their brains for more joy? Well, Barth talks about actually starting a daily great things list. And I know before you roll your eyes and are like, oh, come on.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't have to be this big, elaborate thing.
No, keep it simple.
Even just taking a minute or two at the end of the day to just jot down or even just, mentally acknowledge a few positive moments from your day.
Yeah. It's like that old saying, what gets measured gets managed.
Exactly.
But instead of managing spreadsheets, we're managing our happiness.
I love that.
I dig it. What else? What else we got?
Gratitude's a big one.
Oh, yeah, gratitude, yeah.
And again, it can be so simple.
Yeah.
It can be as easy as, looking out the window and thinking, man, I'm so grateful for the sunshine today. Or I'm grateful for that phone call I had with my friend.
It's funny how just like acknowledging the good stuff can totally shift your perspective.
100%.
Like suddenly you're not so caught up in what's wrong or what's missing. You're just more present for, what is there.
Absolutely. And that actually leads us to the final and I think maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, which is being intentional about seeking out joy.
Okay.
Right. And that could be, as simple as scheduling time for activities you love, could be trying something new, or could even just be, picking up the phone and calling someone you care about.
Right. Put yourself out there a little bit.
Exactly.
So it's like Barth is saying, look, you have this amazing tool, this RAS thing. Now go out there and, put it to use. Take control of your own happiness one great thing at a time. I got to say, I'm feeling pretty optimistic after this deep dive. Thanks for diving in with me on this one.
Me too. It's so easy to get bogged down in all the negativity,
Right.
But I think Barth reminds us that there's always good to be found, often in the most unexpected places.
I love that.
Hmm.
And for everyone listening, here's a little something to think about. If you had to write your own great things happen every day entry right now, what would be on it? What small victories, moments of joy, or hey, even simple pleasures made today great for you? Keep that question in mind. And remember, sometimes the greatest things in life are the ones we create ourselves.